Are you crocheting in the round and aren't quite certain how to crochet with a join or to continuous round crochet? If that is confusing for you, I'm going to show you the difference and how to actually crochet both of these in today's tutorial. If you're ready to learn, I'm Rachel from Hope Corner Farm, and by day I'm a home ec teacher who teaches hundreds of students how to crochet. And let's grab a hook and some yarn and we'll get crocheting. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so you get notifications of when I post new videos, and don't forget to give me some feedback on this video. Give me a like or a comment, let me know what I did well or things that I could improve upon. For today's tutorial, I'm going to use some size 4 medium weight yarn in this teal color. I'm going to use a size J 6.0 millimeter crochet hook. You're really going to want a stitch marker for this crochet tutorial, and you're going to need a pair of scissors. So I'm going to start off with crochet joined in the round. So now this one gives a little bit more of a perfect circle, and your rows are definitely more uniform and easier to see and more concentric. The one issue that people have is you can, if you look closely, see that join on that crochet work, and some people really don't like the look of that. So there are pros and cons to each of these versions. Neither one is right and neither one is wrong. Find what works best for you. So I created a magic circle here and I put 6 half double crochets into it. Now at this point is where the difference between the joined and the continuous round starts. So for the joined round, we're going to come right over here to the top of the very first stitch that was put into the ring. Now the type of stitch does not matter for this. This technique is the same whether it's a single crochet, double crochet, whatever. The only difference is the type of stitch. But placement of stitches is key here, and how to join these rounds is key. So we're going to come over here to the top of this very first half double crochet stitch. I'm going to bring my crochet hook over here. I'm going to insert into this little space right here, picking up just the top of that half double crochet. Now, this is key for the joined to have that seam not show as much. I like to pull my yarn as tight as I can onto my crochet hook. So this loop right here, where my index finger is, I want to make that as tight as possible. So I kind of use my other index finger to pull it back, and then I slip stitch through the stitch and through the loop that's on my crochet hook. And we have joined the round. Now to go to a second round, you chain whatever number you are required for your crochet stitch. I'm in a half double crochet and I like to chain 1 for half double crochets. So I'm going to chain 1. Now for the joined round, you can do a couple of different things. You can either work into this stitch or this stitch. What decision you make right here is going to determine how you work over here. So let's start with just working into this first stitch right here. Hopefully you can see that little space right there. So I've chained 1. I'm going to work a half double crochet into that space. So I yarn over. I'm going to go into that space, yarn over, pull through the space, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now I'm going to do an increase round here just so it doesn't start curling on me. So what that means is I'm going to put another half double crochet into that same space. So I'm going to yarn over, insert into the same space, yarn over, pull through this space. Now I've got 3 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So I've increased my stitch count by 1 by putting 2 of the same stitch into that gap. Let's go to the next stitch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work 2 half double crochets in each stitch around until I get back to the join spot. And then I'm going to show you what I was talking about for working into that last stitch. So again, I am just working 2 half double crochets into each stitch. I just want to point out, remember we worked into the first stitch. I had 6 half double crochets, and because I'm working an increase, I should now have 12 because I put 2 in each stitch. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So right there is my full stitch count. So I am not going to work into this space right here. We're going to skip over that because I worked into the first stitch. And so to close this round, I'm going to come over here to the top of the very first half double crochet I put into this round. I'm going to slip stitch to it. Same thing, I'm going to pull this loop tight and I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and pull through. And then that would complete a joined round. And you would just continue as usual. Let me show you the other option you can have with a joined round. So now I'm going to show you the other option for the joined round. So yet again, I'm going to do half double crochet. So I'm going to chain one to get to my height. Now the other option is you can skip over this stitch right here and work into this one, having this be your first stitch. And let me show you what that looks like. So yet again, I yarn over. I'm going to skip over that one. I'm coming right over here to this one. I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through the stitch, yarn over, pull through all three, and I'm going to put one more in there. Because again, I'm going to do an increase where I'm putting two of the same stitch in each one. So there are two. So now I'm going to keep working around and placing two half double crochets in each stitch. So again, just right here, picking up the tops of those stitches. All right, so we're here towards the end of the round. So we're going to come over here. This is my first stitch. It's a little harder to see. It likes to lay down a little bit, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I need to put two more stitches because remember I started with 6 and then I'm putting 2 stitches in each one. So for this version, I actually do go into that space where we joined in the last round. So I would yarn over, go right here in this space, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all three, and I'm going to put one more in there. Again, follow what your pattern tells you. It's going to tell you how many to put into there. So then what we're going to do is we're going to come right over here to the top of that very first half double crochet. So right here, and we're going to join with a slip stitch. And that's the other option you have for joining in the round. So subsequent rounds are just the same with this joined round. You would chain whatever you need for the height of your stitch. So again, I chain one because I'm half double crocheting. And then you would just work your stitches as indicated by the pattern. Now again, if you look at the edge, you can see the V's from the tops of the stitches. And then just to point out, that's a space you're going to work into. That's the space you're going to work into. If you're not quite sure where to work this round, right here, so you're just picking up the top of those stitches is where you want to work your stitches. So the final variation of the joined round in crochet, I've seen people where they chain one and then they want you to turn your work. So it's almost like working in rows. You chain one and then you just flip your work so that way you would then work this way. So then you would just work here into this stitch, place 1, 2 half double crochets, and you would just work your way around and then join as usual. So again, some patterns I have seen every once in a while say to chain and then turn your work. And that's exactly what you would do. You would just chain and turn just like I showed here. Let me show you what it looks like to join this at the end of the round. So then here we are at the end of the round. So I just want to point out yet again, I should have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now I'm ready to join with a slip stitch. I would come right over here and I would insert my hook into that very first half double crochet. I would yarn over and I would slip stitch through it. And that's how you would join it. And then the next round you could chain and then turn again and keep working however your pattern indicates. There's so many different variations for ways to work into the round. Really pay attention to what your pattern says, or if you're creating something on your own, do whatever you like the best. That's what I do. And that's the last option for the joined round in crochet. Now the difference between the two of these starts right away. With the continuous round, we're not going to join with a slip stitch. Right here into the top of this very first half double crochet that we put into the magic ring, I'm going to work the next round's half double crochet. So what this looks like, I yarn over, I come over here to that very first half double crochet. So I'm working right here into this spot. Hopefully you can see it right here. There's a teeny tiny little hole right there. That's where we're working into. So I insert my hook after yarning over. Don't forget to yarn over first. I yarn over, pull through. Now I've got 3 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 to complete a half double crochet. Now this is where I like the stitch markers. This is how I know that I've completed a round and I'm ready to go to the next one. I put a stitch marker right into that very first stitch. It doesn't necessarily have to be a stitch marker. They're really easy to work with, but you could even use a different colored piece of yarn and thread it through there, or a safety pin, whatever you can to somehow indicate that that was your first stitch of the round. It's going to make a difference. Then that way you're not going, well, what was my first stitch? I can't remember, because it gets really hard to see. So we're going to do the same thing that we did in the last round. We're going to put 2 into each stitch. So I'm yarning over, going back into that same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. Go to the next stitch, and I'm going to put 2 into it. So again, this technique, it doesn't matter if it's a single crochet, half double crochet, whatever. It's just the technique is the same as far as placement of your stitches. We're almost there. We have one more stitch because here's my stitch marker. Now, do you see how that's hard to tell what your first stitch is? That's why those stitch markers are super key, because if you were to not mark this, it would be kind of hard to tell where you started your round. So again, here's my last stitch for this round. I'm going to place 2 half double crochets into it. So here is 1 and here is 2. And that completes that round. Now for the next round, what I do first before I work into that stitch is I'm going to take that stitch marker off, and then into that stitch, I'm going to place 1 half double crochet to start. So I yarn over, I go into that space, yarn over, pull through the space. Now I've got 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Again, because it's the first stitch of my round, I'm grabbing my stitch marker again, and I'm simply going to mark it. So that way I know when to stop when I get all the way back around. And then we'll just do the 2 stitches in one. So I just put another half double crochet in there, and then 1 stitch in the next all the way around. Again, follow what your pattern tells you to do as far as working your rounds. So then again, we've got 1 stitch left here because there's my stitch marker, and I'm going to put 1 half double crochet into that stitch. And I would just continue that for however long my pattern indicated. Again, marking the very first stitch in my round so I know where to start and when to stop. Now, when I get to the very end of a project using the continuous round, what I'm going to do is I'll take that stitch marker out, and I would just simply slip stitch to the very first stitch of the round. So I would just go into that space where my stitch marker was, insert my hook, I would yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop on my hook to close the round, and then I could finish off my project. I would only do that if I'm using the continuous round at the very end of my rounds. I hope that makes sense. So again, I just want to show you with the continuous round, you get more of a spiral effect. So your circles for your rounds are not concentric. They spiral out from the center. So it's more of a spiral look rather than circles inside of each other. So hopefully you can see the difference there. This one is spiraling and this one has more concentric circles. And it's really just what you prefer look-wise and technique-wise, or if your pattern indicates one or the other, you follow your pattern just how it says. And that's the difference between continuous round crocheting or joining your rounds in crocheting. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so you get notifications of when I post new videos. And if you're looking for a way to create a nice tight circle, you could check out my double magic ring tutorial right here. And I hope you have a wonderful day.